And welcome back, everyone, to Who Would Win. Today's Who Would Win comes to us from Silent Rise, who asked the question, who would win a fight? I want to get this guy's name, but Grewishka from Alita Battle Angel versus Adam Smasher from Cyberpunk 2027, 2022? I can't remember, actually. I think it's 2022, right? Hold on. Adam Smasher, Cyberpunk 2022. Let me just be sure about it. Cyberpunk... 2077. Sorry, I don't play Cyberpunk at all. Can you tell? So, yeah, I'm prefacing that right now. So any opinion I have about who wins this fight, take it for a big grain, because I don't know. I had to look up at least as much as I could about this character. What I do know about this character, let's start actually with him, seeing as we're on that, is that he was kind of an inhuman bastard before he even became a cyborg. Like, he was kind of a monster, had little humanity to begin with. And when an accident basically blew up a bunch of his body, the company he's employed by, or was it Araska, as the name of the company, and basically outfitted to be more machine now than then. That was basically, what happened with him. He's the secondary antagonist in the game, in the Cyberpunk 2077 game. He's basically kind of the alternative, not the alternative, but the other side of like Johnny Silverhand. He is the arch enemy of him. In terms of skill, strength, and abilities, all that, as a cyborg, he's got superhuman strength, durability. He's also got super speed and reflexes, cybernetic implants, various explosive weapons and gadgets, infinite ammo, and resistance to chemical damage, due to the fact that he basically does not have an organic body pretty much anymore. The only organic part of him it appears to be appears still to be is his head. He's got through a full body conversion, which means that, yeah, his entire body is made of cyberware except for his brain. He uses Novi Tech Samson, a full body replacement designed by hazardous environmental dangerous work, originally meant for extreme manual labor. His frame has been heavily modified to make it more suitable for combat. As we said, enhanced strength, speed, perception, speed enhancements. There's not much to say. One thing he does have is for a firearm is the Miltech MK 31 HMG, or firearm choice. It's basically a heavy-duty machine gun developed by Miltech International Armaments, a mega corporation that specializes in private military contracting. It was not designed as a handheld weapon, instead being installation bolted down in defense perimeters or armored vehicles. Essentially, he's got more or less a Gatling gun. It projected powerful rounds with a remarkably high firing rate, but was next to impossible to reload in combat while handheld. Smasher was an exception, however, as his strength and size meant he could use an MK-31 with just one hand. So yeah, this guy can literally wield a Gatling gun one-handed. That's impressive. So what does Grewishka bring to the table? Grewishka is basically one of the they're not called bounty hunters in Alita. I can't remember exactly what they're called, but they are the equivalent of a bounty hunter in Alita Battle Angel. And in Alita Battle Angel, you have normal humans, completely unupgraded humans, and then you have, I think my computer's lagging a little bit, just a little bit. Not that it matters for this. It'll matter a little bit when I do the review, so I'm going to have to be sure I have as many tabs closed as possible. But as I said, then you have some people who go through some mild cybernetic upgrades, and then you got people who go through enough cybernetic upgrades to be questioning whether or not you're still human. Like, technically speaking, this guy is still human. He's still got the organic face part. His brain is still human as far as we know, but the rest of his body is cyborg. Now, the list of his abilities is not extensive. It's not small, mind you. I mean, he's got all the abilities a massive guy like him would have in this form. He's a hulking giant. Let me see if I can get the size of him up here real quick. Do we have a size on him? I don't think they give a size for him, nor do they really give much in the way of what he's actually capable of doing. Now, I can go off the movie from what I remember. I haven't watched it in years. I liked Alita Battle Angel, for the record. I didn't think it was that bad. And they've been talking about doing another one for a while. But, I mean, he's got, again, enhanced physicality. He doesn't. I think he's got some firearms, but he's mostly just melee fire. One of the big things was his fingers can turn into giant whip blades, and he can basically use it to kind of slice individuals around, grab them, yank them around, throw them around, like he did. Like he killed the dog with it. In that scene, and he was basically tearing Alita apart, to be honest. But Alita proves that he's a character. This is a character that proves that, and with Alita, that size is not everything. Even though she did technically lose that first encounter, her body just wasn't designed for combat. When they fought again with a body more designed for combat, she whipped his ass. And even still, without a body designed for combat, with just one remaining arm, she gave him a serious detrimental wound where she basically just jumped up and then just skewered her hand into his eye socket, and he took out his eye. So, like, he's kind of the example of Mike doesn't always make it right. He's kind of just a brute, but he's ruthless, and he's still very dangerous. To me, like, in a battle of cyborgs with whom neither have necessarily like the most advanced tech in the world, I think the fight would be interesting at first. Like I think Grewishka is gonna like try to overpower Smasher just with sheer brute force, but I think Smasher actually is comparable in strength. And the fact that he's actually smaller, still relatively human size, and faster is a bad omen for this guy, because against a smaller, faster opponent, this guy struggles. As well, and then you go up against someone who's possibly comparable to him in durability and definitely in strength. Let me rephrase that: definitely durability, possibly strength. Now, and a guy who's definitely a bit more hand-to-hand oriented in terms of his combat style. And I mean like actual straight brawling. It's actually listed in his stats. He's got like a +6 in brawling, so he's an actual fist fighting. And Smasher's got the edge in terms of brute strength. It could be a wash. Grewishka may have a slight edge, but we don't know what the real limits of that cybernetic outfit is. He's dead at the end of the movie anyway. Spoilers if you haven't seen it. I think the two biggest issues these guys are going to have to deal with, though, are their long-range to mid-range weapons. He's got these powerful cable whips that come out of one of his arms, and he's got a giant Gatling gun. If one gets a hold of the other, it's going to spell big trouble for the other, right? Or if one gets the other with their respective weapon, it's going to spell big trouble for the other. The question just is, who is going to get off their signature weapon first? And I think it's definitely going to be Adam Smasher, because he's definitely going to just be able to fire a gun. He can fire this massive gat one-handed and just completely rain fire on this guy until he basically runs out of bullets, and then just goes in to reload again if he wants. Or he could just toss the gun aside, rush in, and start going to town on him. Now, one of the things we should mention is the level of cybernetic enhancement in Alita. Most of the cyborgs in Alita are not really designed for combat. They can definitely be in combat. The one played by, was it something Screer? It's not Ed Screer, is it? I can't remember. The one who played Francis in Deadpool, I can't remember his name. He played the transporter in Transporter Reboot. I cannot remember his name, but he was the one who was that guy. He was the bounty hunter. He was definitely a bit more combat designed, but he really wasn't made for, like, most cybernetics in Alita, at least from the movie, which is what we're going off of, aren't made for combat. They can be used in combat and they can fare pretty well. They're much more durable than a squishy meat bag. Alita was one of the few that actually had a body designed for combat. So that's why she was kind of an exception to the rule. Now, granted, I don't know how well his body would fare against high-powered gunfire. It would probably take some hits, but ultimately start to get blown apart after a while. If it runs out, if the bullets run out and he's still able to function, and he catches Adam Smasher with the, let's call them the whip fingers. Whip fingers. If he grabs him with the whip fingers, it's all now a question of, is Adam Smasher going to be able to compensate for the strength? Is he strong enough to overpower this guy? Or is he going to be taken for a ride, smashed around, and eventually just torn apart? And I think it all comes down to the fact that it's only one arm. That, I think, is the big thing here. While that's a lot of strength, and Alita was able to get thrown around pretty easy and scratched up. Alita was tiny compared to this guy, very light. This guy is a very heavy, still relatively human sized, but just hulking cybernetic being. And you add enhanced strength, he is probably comparable, if not stronger, than just one of this guy's arms. So that means even if this grabs onto Atom Smasher, these things, as you see here, grab onto Atom Smasher, he could probably just kind of hold it there for a little bit until he finally just and starts pulling him in, and then finally just maybe Grewishka has to retract them, and he just rushes in and starts boom, 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 just beating and just tearing this guy apart. I think it really comes down to Cole. First off, they're relatively comparable in strength and physicality, but a better long-range weapon and a more devastating long-range weapon in Atom Smasher, and the fact that he's probably more intelligent than Grewishka is, and he's more skilled overall. So I would go Atom Smasher in this spec. Granted, I don't have all the information that probably exists for Atom Smasher, nor do I for Grewishka. I found as much as I could, but let me know if you disagree with this or if you agree with this. If you disagree, that's fine. You're all friends here. And if you agree with it, that's cool too. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed, though. Like, comment, share, subscribe. I got to do my review for Fall Guy. You'll notice there wasn't a reaction. I'll bring this up in the video later. Anyway, thanks for watching. See you later.